Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's AYCG Moviecast, episode 532. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike C.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Yo.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Hello.
Welcome, listeners and viewers, to 532 of the Moviecast. We're in a whole new world, guys. A whole new universe. If you will. But yeah, so guys, it's been a pretty crazy week with news. We're gonna get into that in just a second. A lot more than I expected, actually, news this week from movies. But first, we get into what we've been up to. I would love to kick us off with something not WandaVision, just so you guys know. I watched The Little Things, which is Denzel Washington and Rami Malek, who I've never seen before in a movie or anything, TV show, because he was in that robot thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, the show,
Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot, yeah. So
he was also in the video game, the Sony video game.
Was that
Yeah.
Until Dawn?
Until Dawn, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes, and now that's pretty accurate. Like, I know that, I guess they typecast him, but he is, like, so awkward. It's just crazy. Sorry if I lagged there. Yeah, it's good. Sorry. He's just so awkward that, like, it's just weird watching. So I had to say that I was really hooked on that movie. Like, I actually watched it. It got so late that I was like, I'm falling asleep. I gotta watch the last 30 minutes of it the next day. So I watched the last 30 minutes of it. And I'm like, man, I wish I had just stopped after the hour and a half. Like, I just feel like the whole last part of that movie falls apart. That's just my thing.
Wait, sorry, what movie is this?
The Little Things. It's like a thriller whodunit kind of thing. It's about a murderer, like a serial killer killing women.
Where is it on?
And it's on HBO Max. It was supposed to be in the movie theaters, but it came to HBO Max. And I don't know why, but I was in that movie mode. I really wanted to watch something, and so I'm like, they got me. They got me here. I got this HBO Max subscription. Let's dive in. And like for the first hour and a half, Jared Leto is he's the bad guy, or bad guy. I don't know. So it's all a mystery, and you don't really know. So I don't know. I have a real problem with the way that it ended. But
well,
Corey,
if you're saying this
I'm
after you've seen it, it's like, okay, then you don't know.
Corey, I'm not saying that it had the same ending at all, because it didn't. But I got 7 vibes for a lot of this movie, and I was like, this is really good. I'm like, I really hope they don't do the 7 ending, which they didn't. But I would have liked that they did instead, because like the ending that we got, I just didn't like. I'm like, the whole movie felt like 7. It was really well done, and then I don't know, I just didn't. It's the same style as 7, which was awesome movie for those. If you haven't seen 7, watch that instead of this. But this was good until that ending for me. And that kind of sucks when you just end on a note. You're just like, although it did get me to talk about it a lot, and so because I talked about it with Amanda for a while, what happened in the movie. I'm like, so I guess it did have an impact. I was like, but, and I'm talking about it on here. So there you go. But that's really it besides WandaVision for myself. So, Mike, what have you been watching? You haven't been on in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, aside from WandaVision, and it was interesting. I missed the last episode to talk about the previous episode, although I left a comment on the YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But so I've watched both of those, and I just watched, I think Corey recommended that I check out the Heart of Batman documentary about the making of the animated series. It's a couple years old now, but yeah, I gave it a look. It was on YouTube.
That's where I saw
entirety. Yeah. So I gave that a look, although it took me like 3 sittings or so, because it's an hour and a half, and it was pretty interesting. It was definitely more about like the creators, and like you got Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Andrea Romano, like that crew, who have been pretty much synonymous with that universe, like going forward. And so it was interesting. I would have liked a little more from the actors. There wasn't much from them in that. There was Kevin Conroy talked just a couple times, very briefly, and actually had like archive interview footage of Mark Hamill. It wasn't even new for this, but other than that, it was interesting. So that was a good thing to watch, especially since now that show is now another thing that they're trying to get you onto HBO Max with. But we'll see. Other than that,
the new one's rumored too. So
there's
yeah,
like more follow-up rumors to that. Actually, like it's
that would
a lot of chatter. A lot of chatter.
Something.
Yeah. You know, the thing for that is, again, like we talked about it last week. I don't want to go on a complete tangent here, but Mark Hamill, I just remembered, is doing the voice of Skeletor, if I remember right, from the new He-Man show. So he's back into that voice acting stuff. So let's roll. Come on, let's do it. Do it up.
Warmed up, ready to go.
Yep. So, anyways, all right. Anything else, Mike?
I mean, I've been reading some comics. I actually got the. I love how the Ninja Turtles have become the de facto crossover comic group.
Really?
They cross over with everyone. Now? Well, I've done. They're onto the third version of the Batman crossover, which I haven't.
That was very popular. That's why. But
they did a Ghostbusters one, which I read, and now it's a Power Rangers one. And it's interesting. So I'm reading this Power Rangers Ninja Turtles crossover, and the Ninja Turtles are kind of like the Nickelodeon style Ninja Turtles.
Which era of Nickelodeon though?
The previous one, not this new one that no one cares about.
Not the Raphael led one.
No, not that garbage. No. But it's funny because they even sort of mention it, like one of the Power Rangers, actually Billy, which is funny because this is 100% Gen 1 Power Rangers in this. So Billy's like, talks to Splinter's like, oh, so are you a rat that became a human or a human that became a rat? And Splinter's like, yes, because they muddy those waters intentionally. But yeah, on the other end, the Power Rangers are completely Gen 1. It's, Billy, Tommy, Zach, Trini, Jason, and but yeah, Tommy is there as the Green Ranger. But it's interesting because so you would think the demographic for something like this would be like people who are like 30 plus or so, but it's very kiddie. There's like I mean, not very kiddie, like obviously like they can say people are gonna die and stuff, but the way it's like drawn, like there's no impact whenever someone hits someone, it's very vague and like you can hardly even see them hitting. And I thought it was a little bit curious considering they're going for like, I think a pretty older demographic, but obviously these were like kids properties at the time, but I don't know, it's still solid. It's you could probably predict some of what they do in this type of crossover, and a little bit of Turtle Zords and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun, but I kind of wish there was they took it a little more seriously or a little more into account, like who would actually, care about these first generation versions of these characters just a bit more. But I'm almost done with that, so it's interesting. I do enjoy all these crossovers, at least for the novelty of them.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I haven't gotten to read I bought the High Republic, finally, the first book. So I'm going to start reading that one, Star Wars, the new Star Wars stuff, which sounds like they've created a really cool villain. So I'm kind of looking forward to that myself. But, anyways, Corey, anything?
Yeah, I actually watched the Avengers movies, Avengers 1, Avengers 2.
Was this spurred by, was this like renewed interest thanks to?
So it was kind of, just 'cause I was like, it's been like forever since I watched Age of Ultron. And I was like, well, I'm going to watch the first one, and then I'll go into that one. And then I was like, well, I might as well get the other two. And the jump, man, is just like, first one is so campy, Whedon. Second one's just like, they definitely missed the mark here. There was some cool moments and stuff like that, but obviously it just felt so like, hey guys, we're getting ready for the next phase.
We just couldn't handle it.
The best part still is the Hulk fight, I think, that movie.
Yeah.
Because two is now what I think most people, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people saw it once and then never did again.
Yeah.
The second one.
Exactly.
So, but now that movie gains a little more importance looking back. We have to kind of remember what exactly happened in it, I feel like.
Yeah. No, and that's why I was like, let me check it out again. And then, obviously, Infinity War and Endgame were just, oh my gosh, they're just the cream of the crop, man. I still hit you in the feels, and like I was tearing up again all over. It's like this is this is really awesome, and you really feel for the characters, like your story when we talked about it originally, just Thor and what he had to go through, and then he actually voices it out loud, and you're like, oh shit, that sucks. And then like you realize all these characters have like had these issues, and like Star-Lord's having to like compare. Oh well, I had to kill my dad because he killed my mom, and
but I didn't lose an eye.
Exactly. And then you had, of course, the all words are made up line. There you go. I was like, yeah, there it is. So yeah, it was cool. Like definitely they got a great thing going, and so I'm excited for that. And actually was kind of like interested in watching Logan again, just because like, let me go through some of these older, better movies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I had the same. I had a reaction like after I watched WandaVision. I was kind of in that. They were queued up, and then I ended up watching the little things instead.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, Avengers was like, I'm like, I could check this out. Like it's due.
It's also
you know what I mean?
With Black Widow coming up too. I was like, let me just.
I mean, you know what it is, but you also have the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like Marvel Universe is back, and it's like I could go dive back in and like start refreshing, and you know what I mean. Like that's the thing. So, but Tony, anything besides WandaVision?
No.
All right. So let's.
I just have to mention one thing though. Like when T'Challa comes on screen, it's just like that. Really, like it felt. Like, I really felt that, man. That was really heavy.
Yeah. I want to watch Black Panther again. Actually, now that it's February, because I think the 2
years.
2 years.
3 years. 2 years. 3 years.
Was it 3? Is it 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
When did
it is 3? 2018. 2018.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, it's just crazy to think about that he was going through at that time too, and then him coming out and just being a badass was just like, it was awesome.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, it does. It does. Anyway, so we have WandaVision. Episode 5 aired. We talked about episode 4 last week, guys. I promise you all. I did mark my spoilers last episode, so we're going to be doing spoilers now. For those wondering, don't worry, it will be marked in the timestamp in case you haven't watched it. You can skip through. So
if you have,
because we don't know how long we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So you need to watch this, by the way, for those who haven't. Like, I was trying not to send a reaction out, except for I think I said what exclamation point.
You're like, you need to watch it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna wait to see who's the first person to react.
As soon as I was done watching it, I checked Discord to see if you guys said anything.
Yeah, I just had the what. I was very vague after that. My concern immediately went to you guys spoilers. Like it's something that needs to be experienced.
No, I actually got spoiled on it because.
Did you?
I knew.
Because they were talking about it, right?
Were you the one who predicted this?
Well, did predicted mutants.
I know.
I predicted mutants in MCU. I said it.
I asked about Fassbender and Magneto. I honestly.
I thought somebody did mention. So we're openly talking about it, right? We're openly talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I could have sworn somebody did mention like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if they got X-Men Quicksilver? Like I could have sworn somebody.
I don't remember, but I do know that. I mean, now more than ever, I believe that Magneto is going to be in this series. No doubt now.
Yeah. Do you think he's the manipulator behind the scenes? There is somebody behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely. Well.
So.
Anyway, we should just go through. We should go through here. Let's talk about the episode.
I'm gonna have to break the whole episode down. I mean, obviously.
I honestly, this is the thing about this. I don't remember most of the episode except for the end. Like everything else.
You have the twins.
It was very awkward episode. Yeah.
So like that's the one thing, and that's Wiccan and Speed. I couldn't remember the name.
And Vision's starting to figure things out. Like
he's full on like something's wrong here, and then Wanda's kind of just like ho hum about her powers now, where she's just like
she's like openly using them and stuff like that. Plus, like that scene where she came out of the bubble and just threatened it. Like there's a comparison GIF. I forgot to post it from Twitter, where it's comparing when Magneto did that almost same thing to soldiers in one of the X-Men movies, where like he took all their guns and did that, and like she almost does. Like I don't know if it's intentional, but it seems.
I think it's a little more badass here, honestly, just because they all just focus on the one dude, whereas like Magneto turns them all around on themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a very similar sequence.
I was like, that was just so badass. Like, I thought that was really cool. Yep. And it begs, you to wonder, like, because I know we were talking about it last week too. Is like, how much of this is actually Wanda versus her being controlled? And like after that, I don't know. Like, I'm starting to still feel like it's still her. Mostly. Wanda. It's still mostly her.
Well, no, she has the ability to do this, but she's still being manipulated in terms of like.
No, maybe suggestion, I would say, but like
realizing that ability.
She's like, I think, what do you want, Wanda? And she's like, I have everything I want. What could you possibly offer me? And it's like,
yeah.
But so I missed the previous week, and I wasn't as high, I think, on that previous episode as maybe you guys were. I'm not sure, but because honestly, like when we get out of the world a little bit, I find myself a little tired of all the fairly obvious explanation they're giving about what's going on. Like, I don't know. And I find Darcy a bit irritating after a while. I can't have her too much.
I agree with you, Mike. I agree with you.
But
fine. I don't know about that. She's not in it enough to be annoying, I don't think.
Actually, well then fine. I don't like her at all there.
Yeah. No, I know it's.
But no,
I agree with you though.
This was an interesting one because it was like half and half in and out of the world in there, and again we moved forward a decade to like 80s 90s now here, or 80s maybe, I'm not sure exactly, but I found it most interesting where we go to where Vision was figuring stuff out himself, and then you're sort of getting the idea about what is happening between them, or like how he is. Again, I don't know if I want to see at this point while I'm trying to figure that out with Vision, like, oh look, she stole his body. I'm like, well, I don't want to know that right now. I don't know. I feel like he could have left a little more to be pieced together.
I think that that's my point.
We're halfway through the series.
I don't think that that's the point of the story. I think by the 8th episode, we're going to be changing into who's controlling things, because they're giving you her.
And I'm not entirely, and this is where there is still some question, which is good. I'm not entirely sure that there is anyone else too. Like, I think it's possible that she's doing this herself, but she doesn't really know all that she's doing. Like,
there's a subconscious level that's going on.
Side effects going on. Like, I'm guessing the end here is a side effect that she did, since they went ahead and said she's altering reality, as opposed to just keeping things out.
I love the comment. I do love the comment from Darcy. Was she recast her brother?
Yeah, like the meta commentary about the series. Like, even like the previous week's episode when it was what's his name, and Rambo talking. Yeah, Jimmy Woo. And, and they're like, Captain Marvel like almost got her, and like, Scarlet Witch almost took her out if it wasn't for the thing. And like, it just gets into that meta commentary, like internet, like actually,
I do think that comment wasn't necessary in the end, because I honestly don't remember what either Quicksilver actor looked like. So when she said that, I'm like, oh, this must have been the Fox one, because I don't remember what they looked like.
So what's interesting is, like, if you're visually impaired, they have the, on Netflix and stuff, they do the descriptions, and so Disney Plus has that as well. In the audio description for this, they specifically say, like, the X-Men version, Fox X-Men version of Quicksilver. Yeah.
That's cool.
So they want you to know who it is, and not the
very intentional
version.
So, but here's what's interesting. I don't know if this is just for us, or are we supposed to consider it in universe? Why did Wanda let us see who that was at the end? Because for a second, when we got just the blurry gray like hair and background, I'm like, oh, we're not going to get this reveal now because Wanda's not going to show us. But
no, I don't think that's where this is where I don't think it's all her. I think there is somebody that's doing something, because one of the things I mentioned last time was, like, we've seen Wanda at the end of Endgame and stuff, and like she seems pretty stable. So like, what happens between that point and this point that causes her to do this? And so that's one of the reasons also I went and watched the movies again. But it's like, I do think somebody pushed her to this point where she's doing what she's doing, and this sword guy, he's not good. I mean, when she turned all the guns on the one person, it was that guy. It wasn't Monica. It wasn't any of the other soldiers. They like pointed out at each other. It was that dude. So that guy's definitely something's going on with him.
Yeah. Plus, he armed those Hellfire missiles. Like, I'm kind of wondering if it was something that
and
he did, and he's just trying to cover up now, right? Like,
right.
That could be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That could be it. Because I mean, he was tearing up Vision in the as we can see. And, like he was saying, his living will is not to be used as a weapon. That yet you're like using him for experiments, so you can like make all this stuff to, weaponry.
No, I know. So, no, I think that I mean, the episode itself, I actually like because we get a little bit more of the Vision, the mystery for him unraveling. Like he understands what he's like figuring out what's going on. That's really what it's become for that side of things. Is him solving what's happening.
But the other interesting thing is she can't control him either.
Well, she's reset him a few times.
She reset the world.
It's weird. And, it's another issue kind of like we don't really know how her powers work. We never have and probably never will. So it's hard to say like what she can and can't do, even to someone else who should have free will or not. But is he really? We still don't really know like how he's back or if he's really back either or what he is. So
I mean, there's that line from like you can bring people back to life, like the twins talk about. It's like, and Ag's like, you can? Oh shit, what's going on here? But I don't think she's all good either. Like you were saying,
I don't trust that bitch. Because I don't trust.
See. I said it.
Did she kill the dog? I mean, I feel like she killed the dog.
I feel like she totally killed that dog.
Oh god, yes. This is her experiment as well. That's what I'm trying to say.
Because Wiccan, he's a telepath or whatever in the comics, so he can, like when he trained the dog real quick, and he's doing the little the finger to the head thing, and so like I don't know, maybe the dog saw something, and then she's like, oh shit, this dog got to go, and then she was like, oh shit, you can like revive things. So I don't know, it's weird that she's definitely a witch, and see how things go there. But the other interesting thing I thought was when you saw the previously thing on before the episode started, Wanda has a different line that she gives Vision when Vision's like, where did Geraldine go? Like she gives him a completely different line there. So
didn't notice that myself.
I didn't notice that. Really? Huh. Okay. Yeah, so we have, let's see. I mean, so yeah, the ending of it, guys, what do we think? Any explanation as to what's going on?
Well, again, my idea would be it's sort of a side effect of her emotions where she's like, because she was forced sort of to think about her brother a couple times and bring people back from the dead. So rather than actually doing that, she might have grabbed one from another universe and brought him into this world subconsciously. That would be my guess.
Maybe she needs maybe it's the law of equivalency, guys. Maybe she needs to have a body of something to make it back to life, kind of stuff. Like Vision, she had his remains, but didn't have her brother, so she can just pull one from another dimension. Then. Yeah,
I just don't think it's. Well, maybe I don't think it's intentional on her part. It didn't seem like it would have been, at least as it was presented.
No, I don't think it was intentional for her. I think it was somebody else. Like you could definitely say like she subconsciously pulled him in, which is valid because it could totally be it because she says it wasn't me, but you never know. But I think it's something else going on.
I think there's absolutely somebody else too, just because it just would explain things better. And I'm trying to wonder if this is really obscure, but you guys remember Mojo?
Yeah.
From X-Men? Yeah. Like I'm just I don't know. Like he's an
X-Men
character.
He is a TV-based sort of villain where he's does everything for the ratings and stuff.
Just a little long shot with that. Yeah.
Right, and like the thing is, like, things happen almost like weird, where Vision is like, hey, as soon as whatever, like things happen. That's why he was suspicious about the door. But now I'm thinking like, well, if it's not her all the time, then maybe it is somebody else that's a director or producer or whatever pulling the strings, right?
What's her name? What's her name again? Agnes or
Agnes?
Yeah. Where she's like, should we take it from the top?
That was so. Yeah, I had to watch that part 3 times because I was like, I'm not understanding something here. Like I just don't understand this.
Well, that's what Vision was all like. I don't understand this either. What's happening? This is really weird.
No,
I thought that was all ploy. Like,
well, yeah, she definitely is complicit in the whole thing, obviously, to the point where Wanda knows it and doesn't even really worry about it.
Yeah, she even says, like, she didn't bat an eye when the kids grew 5 years in a day.
Yeah.
Or a second, or whatever it was.
No, the thing, it would be funny if it's Mojo, because imagine what a live-action Mojo would look like. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
I mean, that's a cool theory. I think that's a really cool theory. What a weird way to introduce the X-Men universe with Mojo. You know what I mean? Like, that would be really crazy. But it wouldn't put it past Marvel. That's, like, obscure enough to let them build their own story. So it's
the other thing is, like, Monica's scans, like, show her as just white light. So I don't know. I think she's got her powers now.
Yeah.
After maybe going through
you mentioned that. Yeah, you had mentioned that. Creating mutants one at a time, right? Yep.
Could be. But do you think that this opens the door now, though, like with the Fox X-Men characters coming in?
So the way that this opens it is what's interesting, because it's not just like there's another.
Now they could actually pull Hugh Jackman.
That's what I mean.
Yes,
yeah, that's
I was gonna say, like, now I don't think this
way.
is her reference. I don't think this is her Luke Skywalker. I think Hugh Jackman is the Luke Skywalker reference.
I mean, if that
I think it's Magneto.
First of all, I'm getting kind of sick
Ian McKellen
of all these outside things.
Ian McKellen in this. Ooh, that's a.
Just think House of Ed Magnus, man. I could see him sitting on the throne.
But
okay.
So yeah, it opens it in a way where we would be drawing from that specific universe rather than just having mutants come about.
Mike, yeah, exactly. You gotta, like, listen. It doesn't throw out the Fox universe. It, like, pulls it in rather than just resets it.
Obviously, multiverses are real popular right now and everything. So they're going there here. So it's not that far fetched, but it's interesting how they sort of, again, that kind of makes me question the permanence of it a little bit again. Like how they would do anything more with that going forward. But I guess we'll see. That obviously that's part of the fun of this. What are they doing with all of this? But no,
episode 6 should be interesting. Yeah, episode 6 should be really interesting next week. So
no, I definitely do agree though. Like we're gonna get a couple more surprises and the big Luke Skywalker type of surprise. I think it's Magneto, Ian McKellen, personally.
It needs to be someone of that caliber to.
But see, like, I don't. That's the thing, Corey. No, but that's the thing, Corey. Like, I don't think it's Ian McKellen. I understand your point of Magneto, but Fassbender would not have that. You know, he wouldn't give you that.
That's why
Patrick Stewart would do it. Patrick Stewart would do it as well.
But you gotta have Magneto, man. You gotta have Magneto.
Yeah. But I could just see Hugh Jackman now. That it's that Quicksilver.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though. Like, Hugh Jackman would be the biggest, like, outside universe, like, name, like, oh, it's Wolverine.
I mean, that would be up there with
for like 20 years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make sense. He should have nothing to do with this. Like, Magneto does make more sense as, because sometimes he's the parent of her. So that makes a little more sense to bring him in.
I mean, the House of M stuff, it all ties it together.
Yeah.
I would love to see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine show up. But there's two things about it. I feel like that would almost certainly be a one-shot thing. And number two, again, it doesn't really make sense. They would have to sort of pigeonhole, like, shoehorn them in there a little bit more than I think.
I don't know, Mike. You really think, like, Disney calls you and says, listen, here's your contract. We want to get paid this exorbitant amount of money because we no longer have Robert Downey Jr.
I understand the outside.
Would you play Wolverine?
I understand the outside of the fiction reasons why that would be a bigger deal and would be cool. But within, when we're talking about, Wanda Maximoff, like, Magneto makes more sense.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Let's move on from the WandaVision. We've been on that for a little while. But tying into the multiverse, let's talk about Tom Holland debunking Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
I doubt that.
I do too.
I think they purposely, like, make sure that he has no information to give people because he will give it to them if he can somehow.
He was probably told to say this too. Like,
yeah, that's what I think.
But I don't know. It's funny.
I mean, you already have Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx. So you have two villains from those two actors' movies. It's like it's happened.
Yeah,
it's happened.
The way these stories, at least, and, like, just business transactions are so transparent now. Like, you kind of need to do this at this point. You need to flat out lie if you want to have any semblance of a surprise character in anything.
That's why the Skywalker thing was so ridiculous, like so amazing, because that did not leak whatsoever. I don't think anybody leaked that at all.
No, it was crazy because they filmed that last year too. So, all right, Jimmy Woo, that spinoff show maybe. So I just think that was weird timing for that, but so I like it. I think it would be good.
I mean, people really liked him after Ant-Man.
Yeah, well, I think his character could be a good comedy kind of show, but like X-Files style with the superhero stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it could be that.
I mean, he could be the Coulson replacement, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Like, well, on the ground, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Swords,
a little more
Shield
comedic
replacement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I got a lot of Marvel news here. I got War Machine appearing in
Imagine if they pulled back Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Finally, guys.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah.
Wow. A little too late, but that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would just love to see Coulson back in that. You know what I mean? Like, that's
I want
for me,
Coulson and Quake and May. That's it.
I was just going to say, like, if you get May doing double duty here and Boba Fett and some other...
I agree. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, War Machine will appear in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's confirmed. And
again, I kind of wish I didn't know that.
I guess. How about Keanu Reeves, formerly being offered the role of Kraven?
He's everyone everywhere.
This is cool. This is cool because, like, I remember talking about what we were expecting for the third one after Far From Home came out, and I said I think Kraven the Hunter could be a cool storyline arc that hasn't been touched in the Spider-Man movies and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool. And Keanu, hell yeah, I'm all about that.
I think with the news we got from the end of that second movie, Kraven's perfect. Like, besides the Punisher, obviously, Kraven's the next best thing in terms of like going after Spider-Man kind of stuff to hunt. I think that would be really good to have. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's a cool bit of news.
It's a good fit.
Keanu Reeves, I don't know. I guess that's cool. I mean, he's great. He's the hot name, so why not?
Wait, you don't think he's a good fit for Kraven?
I think he's okay. I mean, I don't know if I want to see like a big name actor like that play villain again. I mean, Jamie Foxx, you know, not the best Electro we've ever seen in our lives.
I can't imagine him being that bad.
The thing with that one though is also the direction they took the character. They like just made him so generic and like that whole like trope of, "Ooh, I'm like your biggest fan, and then you ignore me, so now I'm gonna hate you." Like, oh, come on.
I still remember the background music with like lyrics going on, and he's like, "I'm so angry." I don't even remember. It was just the cheesiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it was
like music based. Remember that?
Yeah.
So, it was bad. He looked like he phoned it in halfway through that movie. He really didn't look like he was into it at all. So, all right. Last bit of news: we've got the Borderlands movie happening. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now. Casting coming out. Jamie Lee Curtis apparently being cast in this movie now. As who's she playing?
Tannis.
I mean, I get. I don't know what they're doing.
I think that actually is the best fit so far for the characters that they've cast.
They said
she's like a crazy loony person, and she can play that.
You said Kevin Hart's in that too now.
Yeah. Kevin Hart playing
Roland.
Roland, yeah, a serious role.
I don't. So
I don't get it.
To me, as far as like big like video game franchises go, I kind of picture Borderlands as like kind of like the alt, like maybe not like as mainstream as everything else. Like, is that fair to say? Mm. I feel like that. So it's weird to me that they are choosing like the most like mainstream actors possible to like shove into this movie.
The thing that I'm confused by is you'd think that they'd want to build a franchise around this. Like, hey, let's do some big franchise stuff here, and then you're gonna get actors that are much older than you'd expect for these characters, and like the actors they chose are just so like well known also for who they are. More though, like, so it's gonna be harder to picture them as these other characters in my mind. So
I mean, at the end of the day, Corey, I don't think you can base your franchises for video games on, like, I don't think you can base it on having sequels. Video game movies haven't been known to pull off sequels in a while. Like they're just not.
It does kind of reek a little bit of the old like video game movie adaptation style. Just like, oh, let's just, who cares about these characters? Let's just get our names in there and
Sure, that's the. But like, I don't know about that. I think when you have an IP that you're basing a thing around, you try to make as much of it as you can. That's why you buy an IP.
You would, but it just kind of reeks like the old, let's get Angelina Jolie.
I'm very curious what direction.
Which actually wasn't bad, but that type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
we'll see.
I mean, it's most likely going to be bad, but you never know.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to wrap up 532 of the Moviecast. Thanks for tuning in. You can write us allyoucangeek@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. If you're watching this on YouTube, we would love to have you hit that subscribe button. It helps us out. Hit the like button and the notifications. And tune in next week for more WandaVision conversations. We will definitely be doing a spoiler cast on WandaVision. There's no question about that. So look for that in the future. See you guys next week.